beyond, thinking of just about everything.
Yeah, Empoleon's going to be trying to shut down opposing Comfees from Pramawat's side of things, and we'll have to see how things shape up. Let's go ahead and take a look at the prize cards. Ordinary Rod, Scoop Up Net. Thornton is one of those new supporters out of Lost Origin as well. We could see a lot of play, but yeah.
Driz. Oh boy.
Those are
good.
Yeah, those are good, and there's only 3 of them in this list, so just gonna have access to 1 for Lance here.
Yep, a little bit unfortunate. We do see for Pramawat, he also has the Ordinary Rod in there, a Colress's Experiment. So some cards that he certainly would like to see. And of course, with the prize positioning, those look like they would be drawn fairly early. If he gets to play his style of Pokemon, we'll see how that works out.
Well, it looks like our players are ready to get things going. Again, just final checks, and there is the presented fist bump, and here we go. This is round number 4 in Peoria Regionals, and it's going to start things off with an Empoleon V in the active spot for Lance.
Yeah, Empoleon V. It has a lot of play around a lot of these basic Pokemon, but I don't know if it's going to be as successful here just now. It depends. Seeing Emperor's Eyes early can be pretty impactful, though.
Yeah, one important thing about Emperor's Eyes is it shuts off all your opponent's basic Pokemon in play that have abilities, except for rule box Pokemon. So something like that Radiant Greninja in Michael Pramawat's active spot still can use that concealed cards, which is very beneficial.
Yeah, we've seen that that is certainly one of the most important engines, just that one Pokemon in itself, Radiant Greninja, able to conceal cards and draw out of a lot of awkward situations. Have to be thinking that Lance is also thinking similarly and trying to find his own fairly soon, starting off with this Quick Ball.
Again, this is where you get the bad news, seeing that there's double Drizzile in the prizes, but it could be good news if you get some quick prizes out of the gate. You can pick up some Drizzile and just have them straight in hand so you can evolve those Sobble.
Yep, we see that opening Sobble coming down, a pretty classic start, and Lance is going to just be chilling with that water pass, moving on over to Pramawat's side, and that is how you start a game of Pokemon. Battle VIP pass, first turn on stream.
I mean, it's how you draw it up, right? Battle VIP Pass, one of the most powerful items we have in the format right now. You can only use it during your first turn, but if you have it, you get to search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon and put them on the bench. Doesn't really get much better than that.
That is the reason you play the card, and a lot of people try to play 4 now because they know how important it is to get those Pokemon out, and Michael is playing 4.
Playing 4, it looks like there's another copy of that Battle VIP Pass in hand for Pram to go along with a Quick Ball, so gonna have a pretty full bench if he chooses to at the end of this turn, but again, if you have a full bench against a card like Palkia, it's going to look a little rough, but at least Lance did not get one in play during that first turn, so that means a little longer down the road. Yeah,
a little sigh of relief there for Michael. Understands that at least from a damage perspective, you're not in a lot of trouble, but taking a look at that Empoleon V going, can I use this Radiant Greninja? Okay, good. I need to draw some cards. And wow, great cards in that hand still. Another Battle VIP Pass.
Yeah, unfortunately, no energy to go along with all these cards. So discarding the 1 off the concealed cards could be good, but you're missing that turn 1 attachment. We'll have to find some cards off Flower Selecting maybe. And this is the one downfall of Empoleon V with its Emperor's Eyes. You need it in the active spot to shut off your opponent's basic Pokemon. And we see an Escape Rope in Michael Pramawat's hand.
Yep, we see another in the deck as well. It's just going to be one of those really nice inclusions. A lot of players were working in some ways to give your Pokemon free retreat or potentially just playing that raw switch, cross switchers, but 3 Escape Rope now in this deck for Michael Pramawat. Understands just how important it is to disrupt your opponent and give yourself that option to sneak in a Comfey.
And now some players are playing 2 Empoleon V to kind of counteract that. And Lance is actually doing that, but with the way his start was, unable to really get much of a setup without that Sobble. So you just have to make some sacrifices. And speaking of sacrifices here, this Flower Selecting.
Yep, Flower Selecting looks like Comfy is not going to be able to come into play. Going to the Lost Zone, and that is going to be, is that a second Giratina VStar in hand?
Yeah, there is 3 in the list because, you want to play a little extra because just in case flower selecting hits some cards that you might need, it's fine to get it in the Lost Zone. And here we see actually discarding it with Quick Ball, finds that Luminion V, which finds one of the most powerful supporters we've had in a while, that Colress's Experiment, being able to look at the top 5 cards, you get 3 of them, and Lost Zone the other 2.
Yeah, it's so crucial, and not often do you see decks willing to play down a liability like Luminion V, but this is just how important this card is. To be able to look through, get these cards into your hand in the opening turn, and once again, you can see energy cards right there. Really nice from Michael, and now he's going to have some tough choices here, but certainly being able to place some more cards into the Lost Zone, always a nice find.
Yeah, you see Energy Recycler, not really a card you see a lot of, but we're going to see it a little bit here this weekend, being able to shuffle 5 energies from your discard into the deck, and that Snorlax also gets removed. Another great secondary attacker for this deck against those single prize decks.
Yeah, it's been sneaking its way into more and more deck lists, and we've seen it as a 1 or a 2 count in some of these decks. Michael going with the 2.
Now this is kind of where the deck wants to be. You already got 4 cards in the Lost Zone. Mirage Gate turns on at 7. You got the energy on that Giratina V, got a V-Star in hand, and your opponent didn't get a Palkia down. It's looking pretty good, at least for this start.
Yeah, well, of course, Lance does find that Irida, so you have to expect that at some point in this turn we will finally see Palkia, but it's a little late, and that's not where you want to be in this. You need to be able to have your Pokemon available and eventually get some of those water energies onto the field. And right now it's just that Empoleon V with the 1 water.
Irida is one of the other most powerful supporters we've had before, especially in a deck like Palkia or something in combination with that Inteleon line. So being able to search your deck for a water Pokemon and an item card, and most of the time it just finds something like a Drizzile, which can search for another trainer, and it just keeps the ball rolling. And we see here Quick Ball and Palkia, Origin Form Palkia V were the choices for that Irida.
Yep. Lance throwing away that water energy, understanding Star Portal on turn 3 could be something very nice. Plays down that second Palkia V to make sure that that's almost a guarantee, and time to keep calling. Nice full bench. That's what you love to see if you're a Palkia player.
Yeah, just needing those Drizzile now. Now with Michael here, draws a second Boss Sword in his hand, and the hand's kind of clogged up a little bit. Just a ton of doubles, but that's what this deck does. Flower selecting really just stocks your hand up, and that's why we're seeing a ton of Marty in the metagame. It's just at the end of these turns, these Lost Zone decks are just having like 10, 20 cards in hand.
Yeah, and if they get to keep those cards, they are going to do really disastrous things to your board. So you gotta potentially find some hand disruption. We do see Michael getting to that 5th mark in the Lost Zone, so that's going to be helpful. I think we're looking for what, two more would be ideal.
Yep. That's another Colress's Experiment, maybe, but with the way the hand is shaping up, does not look like it. You do have a switch and a Comfy, so maybe we'll see another flower selecting here.
Yeah, this makes for a pretty big flower selecting then, because a scoop up net would be nice. Of course, seeing that Colress's Experiment would be fantastic.
Oof.
And that's a whiff, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, the Twin Energy, one of those cards to help out that Snorlax. And there we see 2 Giratina V-Stars finally showing up here for this tournament with its Lost Impact attack. 280 damage for 3 energy. It's usually unheard of. You get to put 2 energy in the Lost Zone, though. So that's why it's supplemented by cards like Mirage Gate trying to set it up.
Yeah, now Lance might be thinking, oh, maybe I don't have to worry about Mirage Gate immediately. There is 1 in the Lost Zone, but no. In Michael's 6, 7 card hand, there's 3 waiting to go. And I think we're going to see 1 more card hit the Lost Zone next turn.
And one new thing to point out with the layout as well is we do have that Lost Zone counter under the player cams just for y'all at home to keep track, because these piles will get pretty big by the end of it, but it's definitely helpful. And
Pile singular. I don't know if Lance is exactly going to jump in.
Hey, there's Lost Vacuum. You know,
Yeah.
anything can happen. Irida to start things off again for Lance. And he gets to search his deck yet again, finding that lone Drizzile, it looks like, and maybe a cross switcher.
Yeah, we do see that Palkia VStar is now in play. There are 10 Pokemon. That's 260 damage for a Palkia. I think they have a card called Choice Belt that would help in doing some extra math somewhere. So there's potential for some big knockouts this turn.
Yeah, you even see some players opt for that one of Leon. Lance not going that route here today, but really does help the damage cap with Palkia. And here we see Drizzile, Shady Dealings. We've said this ability a lot throughout the past year. Might be taken over by Flower Selecting.
At least in the amount we would have to say it,
Yeah.
because if we say Flower Selecting 5 times in a turn sometimes.
Again, being able to search your deck for any trainer card is so huge here. Really just gives you access to your entire deck, especially the way you build it. And finding what looks like, oh, was going to be an Irida for next turn, but we're going through again. You got that one of Cross Switcher in hand, so... Oh, there's that Choice Belt, the one of.
I was wondering if he had it and was going for the big knockout, or felt complacent with just dealing a little bit with the Empoleon V, but looks like we could be going to Knockout City soon.
I heard that's a pretty great place.
It's better than the Lost City. I feel like you never get back from there. It's hard to recover.
And here we do see a Star Portal. Getting the 2 energy there. And I feel like, yeah, with the double cross switcher, saving that energy on the Drizzile, maybe to attack with Inteleon later with Aqua Bullet. And there we see the subspace Swell taking the knockout on that Giratina V-Star with the energy. And Lance finds that Drizzile from the prizes.
Yep, you set up the additional Sobbles with that Keep Calling in hopes that eventually you will find it. And sure enough, the aggressive line here is going to pay off for Lance finding those cards. And this is about as best you can ask for without that Palkia on the opener. Now Michael is going to have to figure things out, and this is certainly an opportunity for an explosive turn in that we are going to see that 7th card hit the Lost Zone.
You know, just trying to figure out which one it is right now, either that Twin Energy or the Scoop Up Net. Both cards pretty beneficial here, but with the Twin Energy already in the Lost Zone, Michael might be thinking about trying to save it for a Snorlax or something later on.
Yeah, this is tough. The Twin Energy can be so great for conserving resources, and you have to think that Michael is going to take advantage of at least one of those throughout this game.
Well, here we go, Kyle. The first Mirage Gate here. You're able to play it when you have 7 or more cards in the Lost Zone, and you get a search deck for 2 basic energies of different types and attach them anywhere you like.
Yeah, this is so unreal, being able to take advantage of this card multiple turns, and you can see in this deck not just the Psychic and Grass for the Giratina. We have the Water inclusion so that you can get wild with that Radiant Greninja, and Michael is certainly going to be thinking about that too with that attachment there of the Psychic.
Yeah, Moonlight Shuriken has been an attack that has plagued the livelihood of Sobbles for a while now, and we might even see it here yet again. It could take out that Drizzile and a Sobble and really just put Michael back into this thing.
Yeah, Lance does play Manaphy. It's probably his favorite card in the deck. It's one of mine. But it's not out on that field, and that is bad news bears. That usually ends up meaning 2 prize cards and a lot of crying young lads.
Yeah, no Rain Splash here. And
tough.
Looking through the deck, though, there's not much energy left.
I think there's a bit of awkwardness in terms of how many water energies. Maybe he was considering these where to place the Psychics. Yeah, this is you're going to see the one to the Comfy potentially just as a retreat and to preserve some resources later on, especially with that escape rope being so impactful as we know.
Yeah, and you have that energy recycler in the Lost Zone, so only having access to something like Ordinary Rod to try to shuffle back some of those energies and get use out of that last Mirage Gate. And now Pram has a choice here. You can boss his orders up one of those Pokemon V on the bench, most likely the Palkia, and then take the knockouts with the Moonlight Shuriken. Yeah, we're going to see Michael do that here. Brings up that Origin Form Palkia V to retreat cost, and already used Star Portal for last turn. So Lance is going to have to do a little bit of work to get another attack off.
Yeah, this is so important to understand where your opponent is with their resources. You've already seen them use Star Portal. That's the one way that they can get that second energy down, other than a Melanie. And we've seen the double cross switcher, which means that seeing the third and fourth copy of that is usually a rarity, or they have to wildly overextend. So putting your opponent in a spot like this, especially when it probably doesn't lead to a Giratina knockout unless everything lines up perfectly with an Echoing Horn, this is exactly where you want to be.
Well, there we see the water energy on that Giratina VStar, and yeah, Michael actually opting to use that Mirage Gate. You can only grab the Psychic out of the deck here because there's no other types, but you do get that Giratina fully powered up for next turn.
Yeah, I think there maybe have been like a slight hiccup there in terms of where he wanted the energies placed. The Psychic did go to the Radiant Greninja, and I feel like if he had just Grass and Psychic on the Giratina, he may have felt fine to just preserve the Mirage Gate, but here we go. Gonna just throw down, take away that Drizzile and Sobble, 2 prize cards over to Michael to tie things up here and get that bench a little bit smaller with Palkia waiting on the bench.
Now it's up to Lance to find a good route to attack this turn. You do have some cards to help out. You got that Melanie, be able to attach a water from your discard to one of your Pokemon V in play. You also can just, get out of the active spot with just something like the last 2 cross switchers. But already having used the 2 of them last turn, it's going to be a little bit harder to do.
Yeah, it's a lot to ask of your deck, especially if you're trying to chain together a really big attack. I think Melanie is just the go-to route right here. You just commit to this Palkia in the active spot. Hopefully have the water energy in hand, or perhaps the Capacious Bucket to follow up, and just get an attack in with a second Palkia V-Star. Take this Greninja off the board and figure things out against this final Giratina.
Listen, Kyle, even if you don't have it, you're just going to draw it off the top, right?
Easy game.
Easy. And off the top, it looked like something like the Ultra Ball. That's going to be able to find that Origin Form Palkia V-Star if Lance chooses. Also, 2 Pokemon, Galarian Zigzagoon and that Radiant Greninja. Radiant Greninja usually shows up in this Origin Form Palkia V-Star as soon as turn 1, but with the way Lance had that turn, didn't really have access to it early.
And that Galarian Zigzagoon can also be pretty ridiculous in situations where your opponent has the 4 Pokemon on the bench. You get it up to 9, and then Choice Belt math with one of those sneaky placements there is going to be really good.
Oh, are we just seeing a rule the region, Kyle?
I think that means there's no energy in hand.
Oh, no. Rule the region, being able to search your deck for a stadium card and put it in your hand, but that is not what you want to be doing on turn 4, turn 3.
Yep, it's the only attack with a negative win rate, and it defies the laws of mathematics that we know. But you got to go for it. It makes sense when you only have that attack available for yourself. Grab that path, and maybe you can find something on the following turn. But Pram has to smell blood in the water.
Well, here is the Colress's Experiment. Going to have 1 card, and 2 cards actually, that are easy to get rid of, that Battle VIP Pass and that Drapion V. Yeah, those can hang out in the Lost Zone forever.
Yep, you are completely ineffective, and this isn't your matchup.
Now, did not find that Ordinary Rod, so can't double Moonlight Shuriken this turn, but will retreat, attach that Twin Energy, and already having used the supporter for the turn, no access to boss, so we're just going to see that Star Requiem taking the...
That was the Lost Impact. He's still got the V-Star available.
Oh, he put the 2 energy in. Yeah, okay.
Yep, so, I mean, that lines up great.
Yeah.
having your V-Star attack available, having clearly gotten to that 10th mark is exactly what Michael wanted to do, and just really, really flawless in terms of managing those resources from Michael here.
Now we're going to see Lance will use that Ultra Ball. Search your deck for Pokemon after discarding 2 cards. Finds that Inteleon with Shady Dealings. We'll be able to now search for 2 trainer cards of any choice for Lance here.
Yep, those are going to be helpful in determining how to get to this perfect math point, seeing that there are already 4 Pokemon on the bench for Michael. Potentially eyeing up a 5th with the Echoing Horn could be nice. The Choice Belt is still on the active here, so plenty of damage potentially lining up. There's Palkia V, Zigzagoon going to put that damage down too, and that is actually perfect math too, 270 damage now from the Palkia V-Star.
They don't build these V-Stars like they used to, Kyle.
Yeah, these are glass cannons. 280. What's that gonna do?
And here is that Shady Dealings finds the Roxanne. Roxanne is one of the most impactful supporter cards going into the late game. You can play it only if your opponent has taken 3 or more prizes, but you get to shuffle both players' hands into the deck. Your opponent's going to draw 2, you draw 6, and sticking it with a path to the peak as well. This is where players try to make that comeback here.
I mean, that's just absurd. That's everything that Lance is looking to do, and to do this with so few resources in terms of his main engine of that Inteleon, being able to really get the job done there with just that singular Pokemon now, getting to play that back down that Sobble, to have the bench at the perfect spot, draw that hand up to 6, and potentially take this knockout with no repercussions on the back end. What's Michael going to do? There's a path and 2 cards.
Oof. The hand's not looking too good, but you got that perfect board state here, and there is that knockout. So now Michael is going to be left with no attacker in play as of yet, no energy, and starts things off with that Colress's Experiment. And those are not really good cards.
Yeah, they let Comfy do things, but is that going to be enough? And of course, if you use an escape rope, your opponent could just bring up that Empoleon. We do see the path, though, however, so a lot of back and forth to think of.
Yeah, really going to have to rely on something, and yeah, it's just nothing going for Michael there. No attacker left to really do anything, and something with the Thornton might be able to help out a little bit in that spot, but having that in the prizes really just kind of
weakness of the Lost Zone decks is you live and die by the Comfy, and when you need a lot of resources at the end of the game and you only get a 2-card hand and a little key buddy trying to figure things out, it's tough.
Speaking of tough, looking at those prizes for Pram, they're 3 energy, 2 grass, and a psychic. That's going to really put a lot of pressure on those Mirage Gates early, and we'll have to see how things shape up. But starting off with a battle VIP pass yet again, I think Michael also has another one in hand, which is insane to think about.
Oh, that's a good card. That is a good card. And look, when you prize all your energies, it means all your Pokemon are available. Got to take advantage of that, and we do see that Radiant Greninja and the early attacker in that Cramorant going to be an option here, something that Michael did not have last game.
Being able to attack for free if you have 4 cards in the Lost Zone. It's Spit Innocently attack, dealing just 110 damage, but it is a lot of pressure that you can put on a certain Pokemon in the game. And there we see the first flower selecting, gets rid of another Comfy. I believe the Giratina V-Star to the hand.
Yeah, didn't pick that up just yet. I think we do see that, yeah. And I think the double Comfy is certainly the way to go in this matchup. You still get to manipulate using the ability multiple times and using those scoop up nets, perhaps these switch cards to continue to use flower selecting. But if you go with 3, you lose a lot, and Palkia wants to take advantage of that.
Well, that was not a hard choice. Flower selecting for 2 Mirage Gate on top. Unfortunate, had to get rid of one of those so early, but that is the way this deck works. It's just every card you're going to eventually need at some point, and yeah, in some matchups you won't need that Drapion. After turn 1, you're not going to need those 3 battle VIP paths that you just played, but really just trying to work things together. Hopefully the cards end up in the right order on top. And with 2 in the Lost Zone now, passes it to Lance. And we're going to start things off with a concealed cards. Finds a Sobble.
Yeah, great place to be. Radiant Greninja continuing to put in work and get those water energies into the discard. I guess it is important to note here that Lance did go with the 60 hit point Sobbles. We've seen a lot of people considering going with the 70 for the Lost Box matches.
Yeah, really afraid of that new Sableye out of Lost Origins being able to spread 12 damage counters anywhere on your board. But, oh, wow. Hey, Lance was able to win that game 1, not benching Palkia turn 1. Gonna try for it again. We'll have to see how it goes.
I don't think this is really up to him. Usually you play an Irida or, you know, a card, and no, we don't see cards. That's not how you win games of Pokemon. So, yes, Michael is going to have to figure out how to get through this Empoleon V at least, but Colress's Experiment is a perfect way to start things off.
Yeah, I couldn't see the other card, but it might have been a second Mirage Gate, if I'm not too mistaken. There we see Escape Rope.
That's brutal. Yep, it's either sending up a Sobble into a Cramorant or a Radiant Greninja being lost early to potential for even more shenanigans with additional cards in the Lost Zone. We could see the Mirage open soon.
Well, here Michael has the attack already, 4 cards in the Lost Zone, so we'll be able to take the knockout on the Sobble at the end. Now you're just trying to set up for the next following turns. Going to start it off with a Concealed Cards. Finds the second VStar and a Scoop Up Net, but I think that's really going to be it for this turn.
Yep, it's nice to have those hit points ready and available, not losing a Giratina V to anything soon, but your opponent doesn't even have a Palkia, so you're not threatened just yet. Lance is going to try to get something going here with the Capacious Bucket, but probably going to need a few extra cards along the way.
Well, Lance has already had energies. Why not some more energies to go along with it?
Yeah, that's I guess that's not exactly the recipe that I was looking up, but it is a recipe.
Oh no! Just attaching to that Empoleon V and a pass of the turn. Swirling Slice is not really where you want to be. Really in any matchup attacking. Only 130 damage, and you're forced to move an energy off of it every time you attack. And Michael is going to start things off really well here. Just another Colress's Experiment. Now you got 6 cards in the Lost Zone. Just one more, and you're able to turn on those Mirage Gates. And from there, who knows?
Yeah, I think that's pretty incredible to note just in general is this Empoleon V comes up, and you expect that without the Comfies, it's going to be hard to get these Pokemon into the Lost Zone. But sure enough, finding that Colress's Experiment is so big, it means Michael is just one step away now.
This is the power of Empoleon V, though. We see Lance not really have much of anything, but with that Emperor's Eyes, really able to shut off that Lost Provisions from Cramorant, so you're not able to attack there. And with no Escape Rope, you can't bring up that Comfy and Flower Select and get that 7th card. But here, this is an out in Boss's Orders.
Yeah, Boss's Orders, switch Comfy. Here we go. That's going to be number 7 into the Lost Zone for Michael Pramawat, and that is beautiful for him. Going to be able to start using the Mirage and get going here.
Basically just playing a 2-card Escape Rope, but yeah, wow.
That's a hand.
Whoo!
Yeah, he Lance drew into a battle VIP and no wrong.
Very wrong. Let's go ahead and take a look at these prizes for the players, and Empoleon, Palkia, and Radiant showing up in the prize card. Seems like a party going on there. Meanwhile, for Michael, 2 Mirage Gate. There is the 4, so it's not going to be too detrimental, but it's definitely going to be a game for sure.
This is, yeah, this could be rough.
Oh, Manaphy starting things off. Your boy.
My guy figures it out. It's just one of the most versatile attackers in the game. Just being able to attack for 1 energy, dealing upwards of 20 damage to your opponent is something that a lot of decks just don't have that reach. And being able to manipulate that and also have the ability to go with it just makes Manaphy a top 5 attacker.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
It's okay, not a lot of people do.
Starting things off with a Capacious Bucket, though. Finds a couple of water energy. You also see a Sobble maybe eyed down for Lance. That means maybe something like Battle VIP Pass or Quick Ball, but not seeing that Radiant Greninja is going to sting a lot this turn. You usually want that as soon as possible so you can utilize those Waterers.
Yeah, got a quick peek at the deck, and of course, Quick Ball is going to confirm once more, but We know that Palkia is pretty important. You can at least go, okay, I like this, or yeah, Empoleon if you just play this small bench strategy too. You can get that out going, and even just the retreat and denying Comfy is good.
One thing we could see is there's a couple of scoop up net in Lance's list can bring up that Manaphy that's not doing anything.
Wow.
And there we go. Empoleon V in the active spot. No Pokemon on the bench, so Boss's Orders or Escape Rope are not an out. That means Flower Selecting is not available to Michael Pramawat for essentially until Lance benches another Pokemon.
No, well, Lance is going to try to not do that as long as possible, you'd think, but that's going to be Michael's job now to force that to happen. We could see energy attachments to the Giratina V and just trying to threaten some turn 3 attacking as a way to get that Empoleon to run to his friends.
Well, that's a way to draw some cards without Flower Selecting. Michael uses concealed cards, scoop up net, concealed cards again. Now we see a hand, it's full of energy and Pokemon. You got that Ultra Ball, it can find a Giratina V or something of the like, but
Is this the first deck search? Because this is Michael's going to get the information now that he's down to 1 Mirage Gate.
No.
Generally, you're thinking, oh, I've got plenty of opportunities here, but that is just the one to get the opening prize cards with. That could be pretty rough.
Not even looking through the deck to check.
My man.
I mean, nothing can do about it now.
Well, you get the Colress's Experiment, going to be able to at least get 2 into the Lost Zone. But you're going to have to chain multiple Colress's to even think about using a Mirage with just this single Empoleon out.
Taking a look at the 5 cards here, you got 3 supporters, that Ordinary Rod, and a Grass Energy. Oh, gonna be some tough choices, but it's looking like the Thornton and the Grass are going to be in the Lost Zone.
Yep, makes sense. You got the Ordinary Rod, and we've already seen a couple of energies hitting the discard pile, so it makes plenty of sense to continue to use that strategy. You're going to have to get through your deck at some point, and if you get those basic energies back in, that'll always help out.
This is going to be the big decision for Lance. First, if you have anything, be able to like play an Irida, get some Pokemon set up, maybe a Palkia in play. Or do you just stick with this and just try to Swirling Slice and keep things going? It's looking like with the energy attachment on the active, that might be the case. That second Empoleon V is in the prizes, so that's big to note.
Big debate here from Lance. Basically shows Michael what he's thinking about too. And yeah, it is Palkia time, so can't full send, and understandably so. It is scary when you see the Giratina come down with the energy. You know that you're just 2 turns away from being in danger.
This is actually a glorious Colress's Experiment for Pramawat here. Does find an Escape Rope and another Comfy, so if you want to start doing some Flower Selecting and shenanigans like that, you can grab those cards. That Battle VIP pass is going in the Lost Zone for sure, but looking like Ultra Ball might be the card to keep here for Michael.
Yep, a lot of good resources in the hand, so it makes it tough. But of course, when you do need to go find one pivotal Pokemon, perhaps that VStar, it's certainly understandable. I think we do see 1 in hand, but of course, maybe getting that second Giratina V as well could be something that Michael's thinking of soon.
Now you got the debate between concealed cards. Do you want to Escape Rope Retreat?
Michael goes, oh, I didn't know you were going to pick Palkia. I gotta rethink this.
Does have access to the switch in hand, so can switch back into the Comfy if he chooses. You can see that water energy on the Giratina. Can use that Abyss Seeking to look at the top 4, Lost Zone 2 of them, put the other 2 in your hand. A mini Colress's Experiment, if you say.
Yeah. I think we're 1 Colress Experiment away from feeling really good about this situation, and was unable to find it there, but still some solid resources to pick up in that twin energy.
Oh, the Energy Recycler going in the Lost Zone potentially could be hurtful. And yeah, you're going to see that to go along with the quick ball. There's going to be a pass of the turn. And now Lance has some more decision making to do. You already have that Palkia in play. Now you're going to have access to Star Portal if you have that Origin Form Palkia VStar, which he does. There's the bench of the Manaphy, but only, what, 1 energy? And yeah, we're going to see the Star Portal just for there. And a Subspace Swell. Not much else going on in Lance's hand here.
Yep, going to deal the 160 damage, not enough to start working on that knockout. If we did see a full bench, perhaps there were an opportunity for fireworks, but not here. And this means that there is potential to get that 7th card into the Lost Zone.
Ooh, big pickup off the top of the concealed cards, that Colossus Experiment. Now you can hit that 7th card for the Lost Zone and try to find a Psychic Energy here to attack with this Giratina VStar.
Yeah, that's big. Of course, also the quick ball to go along with things. You need to start working on that secondary attacker. Sure enough, Giratina V more than willing to help in this spot. And this is where it starts to get a little awkward for Lance, understanding that being able to work through this Giratina V, if this Palkia V-Star were to fall, is going to be rough.
Yeah, well, you do have access to Swirling Slice. Can actually pick up the knockout on the damaged V-Star, but once that second one gets powered up, that's pretty much it. And here we see that Colossus Experiment yet again being able to dig through. Does find the Psychic Energy, a couple to go along, so another V-Star escape rope to go along with it.
Yeah, this is pretty unbelievable that Michael has gotten 8 into the Lost Zone without one single Comfy ability.
Who needs it? Why even play Comfy? Come on.
What a waste. Yeah. Oh, he's going to ruin the streak. Oh, there's Comfy. Oh, there you go. That's pretty cool.
Easiest decision Michael has made all weekend so far.
Well, we see plenty of decisions still left to be made in the hand. One of those surely is going to be Psychic Energy onto a Giratina V-Star. And I think we see that Scoop Up Net is also going to be played.
Easy way to get out of the active, bringing up one of your Pokemon that isn't a V or a GX. And there we see that Giratina V benched. Energy on the active. Supporter's already been played for the turn, so those boss's orders are just sticking around for a little bit longer. We're going to see potentially a Comfy benched. It's a good pivot Pokemon to have, especially if your Giratina V-Star gets knocked out from the Swirling Slice next turn.
Now, this was all done without the Mirage Gate, right?
Yeah.
So this means that Michael still has one available in the deck, and I don't know if he's going to see one.
Ooh.
Yeah, he does not see one off the prize cards. So it's going to just be that one Mirage Gate in the deck that is going to be the bailout button for Michael here to get things going once more.
This Evolution Incense is not really going to do too much here. Just thinning the deck out of a Drizzile. There's no Empoleon V-Star, unfortunately. And with this, it's really not looking good for Lance. You can have an energy, but if you do, you're going to... Oh, not even an energy. And this... We're going to go crazy here.
Oh, there's 11 in the Lost Zone.
Star, Requiem.
That's not good.
There's about to be 13.
Yeah, that is absolutely.
Oh, this decision's easy too.
Battle VIP, okay.
Way to go. Still has not found that last Mirage Gate, but with this knockout, we'll have at least one.
Yeah, who cares? This is perfect. Well, the best
Manaphy
attacker in the deck
against the world.
Up in the active.
And just a pass of the turn. And with that, Michael Pramawat will have the energy and the knockout and completes the 2-0 comeback. Loses that game 1 and just really showing off the power of Giratina V-Star.
Yeah, what a way to do it, too.